Hi, Seth David here, and I want to talk to you a little bit more about our debt-free living plan. I left a video up on YouTube last week talking about this, and I wanted to share a few more thoughts with you. In that video I talked a little bit about what we were trying to do and how it came about, and now I want to talk to you a little bit more about some of the things that are involved, because I know there's going to be resistance. I know that I would look at something like this and think, well, you know, all this stuff is great in theory, but how do you put it into practice? And a lot of times my thinking might even go as far as to say, this stuff never works. Well, first of all, the thing to keep in mind is when I keep that mindset, when I start with the attitude that this stuff never works, then I've just guaranteed myself that I'm never going to be able to get out of debt, and I'm going to be stuck with this way of living for the rest of my life, living in constant fear about how am I going to get out of this debt. And it's all about my thought process. It's all about how I'm thinking. The first moment that I have a chance at changing things, that I have a chance at starting a new life and getting rid of the old life being one where I'm constantly racking up credit card debt and always wondering how I'm going to get it paid off, and maybe I get the occasional lump sum and I pay a chunk of it off. The first moment where I can change that is the moment where I decide to change my attitude about it. Attitude is everything. So the first thing I have to do is change my attitude. And what we lay out for you is not one of these, we're not a debt consolidation company. We're not laying out anything for you other than giving you a plan that you can use to do it on your own. Not to do it on your own, to do it with help, but to do it yourself. Not to have it consolidated for you, not to go, because the banks aren't lending any money. So we put you into what I call the installment loan plan, where we treat your credit cards like installment loans and we just get them paid off. And it's a matter of putting the budget together so we can figure out how much money we can afford to throw at that, and then laying it out for you so that you have this installment loan plan. And we're going to zero that budget out so that during the process we're also going to be tucking away a little bit of savings. Even if it's just $100 a month. The biggest flaw in people's thinking is, oh, what good's that going to do me? $100 a month isn't going to get me anywhere, until 10 months go by and now I've got $1,000 put away, which can help me in the event I have some plumbing emergency or something else going wrong that I need money for, that in the past I would have used a credit card for, and now I've got the savings. So it's very important to keep an open mind about this and start out by recognizing that I can change this, I can make a difference, I can create a whole new financial life based on replacing the old life with a new life. And the positive attitude is the first key to this. The next thing I want to talk about is the blocks that tend to come up, which oftentimes are the things that, I can't do. We start thinking, oh, well, I have to curtail my lifestyle. I have to do things. I have to go on vacations, right? Wrong. You don't have to go on vacations. One of the most beautiful things my wife once said to me when I told her, when we were in this kind of a mode where I said, we can't really afford to take vacations. We've got this beautiful home, and we're paying off a mortgage and we're paying off some debt. And what she said to me was so beautiful. She said to me, Seth, this home is our vacation. This is our vacation in Switzerland right now. And it's not always going to be like this. And I realized she's absolutely right. It's not always going to be like this. I have to get my situation in order and build the kind of life I want to build for myself. And for me, that's a life where I don't have to worry about paying credit cards. And I want you to think about that for a moment. Seriously, I want you to close your eyes for just 30 seconds and imagine what it feels like to not have to pay any debt. Imagine for a minute what it feels like right now. You don't have any credit card debt. You don't have anything to worry about. Everything is completely paid off. I want you to close your eyes and imagine that. Imagine waking up every day and going to your bank accounts online and recognizing that all that money that's sitting in your account is yours to keep. It doesn't belong to anyone else. I don't owe any money to anybody else. I want you to think about that, and I want you to feel what it feels like, because you can get that feeling anytime you want by just spending this 30 seconds and feeling that. And that's what I want to encourage people to do. I want to encourage you to start feeling what it feels like and thinking the way that you want to think in order to be able to create a life like that for yourself. So we stop thinking in terms of what I can't do, and I start thinking in terms of what I can do. Well, one of the things I'm going to talk about when we start outlining the plan, once we've got the initial budget laid out, is what are we going to do? We have to change our lifestyle a little bit. It's a lot like dieting with food. I can't just go on a diet and say, all right, I'll drop the weight, then I'll go back to eating the way I did before. I'm going to gain the weight back. I have to change the way I think. I have to change my lifestyle around wanting to build a new kind of life, a kind of life that doesn't include having debt to pay off, a kind of life that includes having complete financial freedom and security, because I don't have those worries on my mind, so that when I do go out and spend money, I'm spending money I know I can afford to spend, and I'm spending money that's coming right out of my bank account, so that at the end of the day, I'm not going to get a bill in a month that says, hey, I'm glad you had a nice time, here's a bill for $5,000, hope you enjoyed your vacation. Instead, when I go on vacations, when I get to that part where I'm able to do that again, and it's not going to take more than 2 or 3 years max. Now that may sound like a lot of time, but think about your whole life. 2 or 3 years out of your whole life, how much time is that really? It's nothing. And most people, based on our plan, will be able to get their debt paid off within a 2 to 3 year period maximum. There might be exceptions if you have an extreme case. You know, every situation's different. But sticking to the point here, what happens is then we have to outline a new kind of lifestyle. What am I going to do if I'm not spending my time going on vacations and planning expensive vacations for the next couple of years? Well, one thing I've offered, I have a list of things actually that I've put in front of me here for the purpose of this video, because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss any major points. First of all, there are a lot of fun things you can do that you can find on the internet that are absolutely free. That's one of the beauties of the times we live in, that there's a lot of resources where you can find stuff to do that's free. I live in Burbank, California, and I've already researched. There's all kinds of parks around here that you can go spend a day for free. And if you love photography like we do, and like most people do now with the internet and putting pictures up, then you bring your camera. It doesn't cost you anything. You've probably already got a digital camera, and you go to a park and you take some pictures and you go for a walk. If you have dogs like us, you take them for a walk with you, and that's that. Renting movies, going for walks. My wife and I went for a walk this morning. We walked for an hour in our neighborhood. It was probably the best hour I've had in the whole past week. Really got to spend some good quality time with my life. Really enjoyed the time with my wife, I should say. Go to the gym. Most of us already have a gym membership. Use that, because you can go to the gym. First of all, it's healthy. You're working out. You're going to feel good, and it doesn't cost you any more money to do. You're already spending that money. And I read somewhere, I was just researching on the internet what other people have as money-saving tips, and somebody suggested canceling your gym membership. I say the opposite. Keep that gym membership and go. Start using it, because the time you're spending there is time you're not spending money, and you're also improving your health. So you win on both levels. The free parks I've mentioned, there's lots of inexpensive hobbies you can take up. Go to a Michael's, go to a craft store, go get some cheap photo albums and take your pictures that you took when you went for those walks or went to those parks and put together those photo albums. The bottom line is spending more time with family. My wife and I have observed, when we look at families and we look at their kids and we see really well-behaved kids, really good kids, the one thing we find that seems to be common to these families when we see really good kids is the family values. The families are always very close. They seem to spend a lot of time together, and they seem to really get along well. And so that's something I've noticed, and putting this kind of a plan in place will literally help you there, because you'll be encouraged to spend more time at home and spend more time together as a family doing things, renting movies, go for walks as a family, whatever you want to do. If you have bicycles already, go for a bike ride as a family. There's so much stuff you can do, and again, you get to spend more time together as a family. So you have a better family life. You'll instill better values in the children, because now they'll have more of a respect for who you are as a parent, because they'll understand you better as a person, because you've actually spent time with them and taught them who you are as a person. So there's actually a better quality of life that you're going to build around yourself when you don't have to spend so much of your time thinking about how am I going to top the last thing we did and spend even more money than I did the time before. Instead, the family values, the relationships are built based on genuineness and quality and who you really are as a family. And I know as a child myself, I've come to respect my parents a lot more than I did as a younger child, just based on the fact that I've actually become aware and gotten to know them as human beings, not just as mom and dad. And that's made all the difference in the world for me. So I want to leave you with this last thought. Think about the kind of lifestyle you'll get to create, while at the same time you're building your net worth and increasing and getting closer to financial freedom. And I mean true financial freedom, not having to worry about spending the money I'm spending, because I know that whatever I'm spending is money I've planned for and I can afford to spend.